Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on December 31st, 2021 at approximately 8:22 a.m. PST. Welcome to the last day of the 2021 year, and for that matter, the first day of the rest of your life. I returned to this world for one primary reason, and that is to simply pass on a message to everybody in existence. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, to get it right off the bat, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and do hit the alert button beside the subscribe button to let you know when the next video comes out. Today we're we tie off the year, everybody does. Just another one of those things that we all have in common. Time doesn't care who you are. Here's a whole list for you. Time, disease, natural disasters such as earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, fire. None of it cares. Okay, it doesn't care what your income, what your skin color, what your pocketbook looks like. Doesn't care who you call God or how you worship him. Okay, doesn't care at all. They don't care if you're tired, if you're, black, white, red, doesn't matter. Doesn't even matter what race you are. If you're tired, you sleep. We are all in the same place. Okay, we are all right here, right now. And this is the only time in existence when anybody can do anything. We can talk about all the things we'd like to accomplish. We can talk about all the things we should have done. And Lord knows I'm just as guilty as the next person of saying what should have been done or what should have been looked at. The one thing that I seem to that I'm finding a number of people along the way here are actually starting to deal with is people are getting the message that we really can make this a better world. 2021 was an absolute write-off in a lot of ways. A lot of things were done by what I say are so-called professionals that never should have been done. But I'm not going into that. I'm looking at it this way. We have a world the way it is. It's got to get back on track. And the only way that's going to happen is if we all work together. Now, I was up this morning at I got to bed at 10:30 last night. It was back up. I woke up the first time about 2 and then back up at 4. And got up for a little bit to get a number of things out of the way. But very importantly in this case is I just woke up again, which is part of the problem here. Actually, I'm not in that bad a shape, but we all start the same way. Now, to make your life successful, there's a couple of things you have to remember. First and foremost, I only follow 3 laws. Now, if you take a look at the laws and the guidelines you live by, as near as I understand it from all my research, when you do that, okay, every one of the laws, compare them to these 3 laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. Now, those are the only 3 laws I look at. All of the ones you follow, okay, all of the ones you follow, I was having trouble with that, fit inside those 3. And if you go through the laws and guidelines you follow, whether it's from legal laws, as in the written ones for society, spiritual laws, or health laws, like spiritual laws like the commandments or the guidelines from the different churches and covens, or you're talking about the laws you follow because of support groups like AA, NA, okay, the support groups for PTSD. Take a look at those laws. And absolutely, if you find one that doesn't fit in the 3 that I just listed, do me a favor and drop me a line in the comments below, because I am looking for that one little piece of information, that one law that defies those 3 my guidelines. Okay, I was told by a very wise gentleman one day, when you take a look at all of the circumstantial evidence, You live your life as though that circumstantial evidence is the reality until you can find a piece of solid fact that tells you otherwise. Okay, so that is exactly what I'm doing my best to do. To that end, it came to my attention that I had this major task ahead of me to share this message with everybody, that working together we can make this a better world. The individual that brought that to my attention, I stood there and looked at him and says, "Well, that's a great idea. But the reality of it is this. You gave all of us, irrevocable by even you, free will." And the individual looks at me and goes, "That is correct." Right. I says, "Well, I understand this message is what I'm here to pass on. But there's something you got to realize. I'm tired of doing this with nobody to wake up with. Okay. The whole backbone of society is family. Now, the reality is, I'd ended up divorced years ago for a number of reasons, neither of which were the two primary ones. Okay, but I ended up divorced, and that was fine. But I was on my own. I tried a few relationships that didn't work. So I looked at the guy and I says, "Okay, here's the thing. Either I will take care of my two boys. Absolutely, I will. I physically had a direct hand in bringing them in. I will do my best to take care of them. That said, unless I get somebody in my life that I can look forward to waking up next to, that I can look forward to sharing my life with when I'm not busy working, okay, that can accept me the way I am." And I had a whole list of parameters. Okay, and yes, I did make a list of what I was seeking. I said, unless I get this individual in my life, I'm done. The message you desire me to do, I'm not doing. And the fact that I signed a contract for it and said I would do this is no longer of any concern to me because it's a no-win on my end. I'm done. And the individual looks at me and goes, well, that's not what we were expecting. I says, probably not. But you did give us the irrevocable free will. And they went, yeah. Yes, I did. I says, well, here's the free will. I'm not doing what you're expecting unless I get what I desire. Now, this was in spite of a number of people because I also do a radio show on Spaced Out Radio at spacedoutradio.com. I've been doing it now for almost 7 years here. Okay, on the first Friday of every month from 9 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Now, I've been doing this for a long time, and the people on that show were asking me to start putting these vlogs out. And also, in fairness, when I started learning the vlogs or doing the videos, I did not know the term was log. But this group of people in the audience really pushed me to start doing the vlogs. I told this guy, I says, until I get this individual in my life, I'm done. I'm just not doing it. Well, I reached the end of my rope and was really at a point where I was ready to shut down everything and just say, scrap it, I'm going to grow old on my own. Well, I made that comment, and the individual looks at me and goes, okay, I understand where you're coming from. 3 days later, okay, I had an individual introduced to me, or more to the point, the interest was made clear to me. And rest assured, I'm pretty slow in a lot of ways. Net result, somebody was brought into my life that took me as is. Yes, I'm a science fiction writer, science fantasy writer. I've been working in the psychic field for, since 1986 on a professional capacity. So for about 35 years now. Okay. Professional meaning generating an income. Okay. I've been working with aliens and UFOs since day one. Okay. So my life is really scrambled. I've gone through I deal with PTSD with hospitals triggered by the hospital, primarily because of dealing with my labs, military laboratories. Now, this all sounds completely whack. On the plus side, I've been to 3 different psychiatrists over the years. One I spent 20 years with. Okay. And all 3 of them have told me flat out there's nothing mentally wrong with you. Okay. I'll tell you that may be a problem. But they told me there's nothing mentally wrong with you. Okay. Where it come to the past lives, that's where the conversation came, because I remember many of my past lives. This individual that was brought into my life told me flat has stayed with me in spite of all of this. And because of that, 6 months after we got together, yeah, because we made it official between us in August of 2020. So in March of 2021, March 6th to be exact, I started doing the vlogs. And the thing is, I could complain about my past all I want. You can complain about your past. I talked to a lass that was living on the street, an absolute mess. The doctors had given up on her. Okay. And I could go into all sorts of things there. But, like I told her, I will not argue with you. The first 40 years of your life were an absolute shambles. Absolute shambles. How you got to where you are is not open for debate. And how you got to where you are, in all fairness, is what makes you who you are today. So I told that individual, I says, I cannot change what you went through. Nobody can. But understand, it's up to you whether your life changes from this point forward. To this end, we are here on December 31st of 2021, and it is time to change your life. Time to change my life. But the only person that can successfully do that, the only person in existence, is you. That's it. However, if each of us straighten out our own house, okay, what you'll have in time, and it will take a lot of time in all fairness, because let's face it didn't take you a day to get to where you are. But it certainly won't take you as long to get back. Now, if you have to figure it out on your own, like I did where it came to the metaphysical world, if you have to figure it out on your own with no guidance, it's going to take you a lot longer. From my end, the message I came for was that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. Now that is my phone ringing, and I cannot deal with it in a moment. So, with that in mind, by working with each other, we can absolutely make this a better world. Okay, there's no question there. So, it's time to get up and realize a couple of things. First step of the day. Okay, now, like I said, I am a science fiction, science fantasy writer. But the reality of it is that I write in 5 different genres. Science fiction, science fantasy, children's, self-help, poetry, and reference. Okay, and let's see if we've got it. I got all the books I've got in print. Only the science fiction, science fantasy is available on Amazon right now. But this little book here, Believe in Yourself and Follow Your Dreams. Okay, very simple little book. I've taken as much of the information as I can, and I continue to add more to these books. Currently, I think I'm writing 33, and today I will be making sure I know what my count is. Okay, but that book, every book I've got in print, is available through me at one of the contacts below. I would love to hear your comments on what you're going through. You know, if you have a question in literally any field, drop me a line. I will be more than happy to answer your questions as best I can. Or if I don't have an answer, I will literally tell you, sorry, don't have an answer. Here's where you might be able to find the answer. Because, let's face it, I'm not a researcher, and I'm not a scientist. at least not by clinical definition. Like, I've never been trained in the Terran ways. I've never been trained in recognized educational facilities. So, with that in mind, okay, drop me a line. I will do my best to respond. But where all of this change has to start is right here, because all change, actually, in all fairness, all change, all action, all creation starts up here, okay, in the etheric level. Okay, it comes from the etheric level into the heart chakra. This is the baseline anchor point for the chakras. Now, most of you, if you've been taught in Reiki, if you've been taught in the standard progressions, there's all kinds of chakra charts, okay, that show the chakras lined up in a straight line. Most of you will work with only 7 chakras. The really good ones that I've run into work with 9, yet still all in a vertical line. Now, the funny part about it is I didn't get the education or the training. And what I came to understand was they aren't there. The root chakra is not your anchor point. The will chakra, right in the center of your chest, right in your heart is. So the energy comes from the spiritual realm into the heart chakra, into the anchor point. Okay, and then there's a lot of paths that it goes through, but ultimately it goes into your feeling body. You develop this idea. When it gets to the side, when you get this urge, the urge happens. When it becomes an emotional drive, then your brain will take over and it will figure out how to make it happen in a logical sense. Then you can do the physical thing. Now, to give you an example, if you go to a doctor and the doctor says you have to lose weight, if you don't, your body is going to give out. Now, this is the logical imperative. This is the idea comes to them, they give you the logical. If you do not drop the weight, you're going to die. But unless you get the feeling here yourself that emotionally you feel you have to drop the weight, you're not going to. It's just not going to happen. It's a cute thought, but it won't work. And I know this because of the number of people that have done this. Okay, now there's 2 miscalculations there. First and foremost, when you're aiming at dropping weight, if you're talking about losing weight, okay, humans have a real neat idea. Every time you lose something, almost instinctively, you start looking to find it again. And the real drawback with weight is that you end up finding it comes back with company. But when you choose to drop weight, the weight goes away. You still have to do the work. And success, no matter how you do it, you're the one going to have to do the work to make it happen. Okay, and we are all in the same boat. It doesn't matter. You may be a multimillionaire. You may have butlers and maids dealing with your house. Okay, you may have them doing your cleaning for you, but ultimately, you've got to make the decision what's going to happen. And success is simple. Success is desire. Boils down to desire. Success equals desire plus focused effort. Okay, which again is one of the books I'm in the middle of writing. And this coming year, I'm going to be doing a lot more writing in a lot more areas, and we'll see how it works out. The concepts. This one is only a tiny little booklet. Okay, the second of the 12 in this series is believe in your business and follow your dreams. Okay, those are 2 books where I took as basic an outlook on the situation as I could and wrote it out. Okay, I've got another 10 books in that same series lined up that I'm working on. Okay, and then of course this little one here, which is a children's story. This one, Mr. Dreamcatcher, is a children's story. Okay, so it's already in print, obviously, but it's that next year to go to Author House to turn into something more. Then we have this neat little one here. This is called Reference, Races of the Worlds. Now, right now, this particular one has 59 different races that I personally work with. Okay. I've got volume 2 under the go right now. Plus, of course, on this one, I'm right now having pictures done up for it. This would be the big one. Okay. That's the science fiction, science fantasy book that I've got. This one can actually be acquired either directly through me or through Author House. Now, here's the thing. Okay, you start somewhere. You take a look at what you desire. And first and foremost, like I said earlier, and I do apologize. Well, no, not really. I know we got a little scrambled there, but when you get up in the morning, the only way we're going to get this sorted out is for you to take dominant control of your life. So as soon as you wake up, get your go and do what you have to get to deal with starting day. As in, I really strongly recommend for most people, get up, go to the washroom, come back, straighten out your bed, get yourself dressed. If you've got an exercise routine, it would be advisable to use it. Okay, but you'll notice these are all things you have to do. Okay, even if you've got the money to pay for somebody else to do it, or if you're poor enough that you don't have the basic accoutrements. Okay, it is up to you to make the changes. Okay. Now, the backbone of a civilization is the family. Now is the time to really get it straight because tomorrow this all starts all over again. Now, it's funny, we call it the new year. Myself, I'm a firm believer that every day is a new day, so putting it off till tomorrow doesn't really work that well. But circumstances dictate certain things. Okay, but it's up to you to be successful for you. One of the biggest things you have to remember, okay, is you can look at your past and say, all of this went wrong. This is why my life is where it is. And it may well be the most horrendous past you've ever seen. Okay. But that's what made you who you are today. It is not what dictates what you will be tomorrow. Now, as you can see, I do a lot of writing. If you've got a writing project that you put on hold because somebody else said it wasn't good enough, when you write from here, when you do what you're enjoying, that's just what it is. If you make money at it, that's great, but money is not the backbone. No, money is not the thing that makes this world work. And by the way, money is not the root of all evil. But that family unit has to be put back in balance. Society is an absolute shambles right now, in case you hadn't noticed. People are flailing all over the place trying to figure out how to deal with things. But things are changing, and it's up to you to make this happen. So I absolutely ask you to join me on this journey, to work together to make this a better world. Okay, but it's going to require all of our work. Okay, and the request is, quite literally, if you've got the wherewithal to help other people, if you've got excess money. Okay, now to be blunt, from my standpoint, because I don't give to registered charities. I don't give I don't give to the church, but I do agree with giving. So as I said I was going to do yesterday, I worked it out, and I've found my limit at $2,500 a month. Now, that's every month from December throughout. But I've targeted Christmas of next year. Now, this year, I said I require $2,500. December, I said I was going to make $3,300, which is $800 more than I required. Okay. And the thing about it was this. I hit my mark. But that $2,500, I will be taking 10% of that and putting it aside. Okay. It will end up going aside and being added up until next year. Now, I went through this, so I'm not going to it. Okay. But everything over that 2,500, which really boils down to everything over, everything over 2,500 a year, which is about $30,000. I will be taking 10% of that and using that as a way of dealing with the world. Okay, with my giving the access to me. Now, work out your own issue. I've covered this all before, but the request is that those of you that have more money coming in, and money is simply a barter system, but if you've got more coming in than what you require to run your house, take 10% of the surplus and put that towards helping the people that cannot help themselves. The ones that my focus really is on what I call the working poor. And I think that's the normal term for it. You're out there, you're putting in the effort, you're doing everything you can, but you just don't have the funds to actually get any of the extras at all. I don't know how many of you out there work your tail feathers to the bones. Okay. First responders, the military, the police, the firemen, the ambulance drivers, they are your first. Now, those are some of the ones that people call the first responders. But who responds to you first if you've got a child that requires assistance, as in education, or even care? Who are the first responders that people almost always overlook? You've got a child, you care about them a great deal, you've got to work, and because of the way that you've let society go, you're requiring both you and your other half, if you have one, to work. Who's the first responder that deals with daycare? That would be your daycare workers, your teachers. They're the ones that have to deal with it. Your foster parents. They take in the kids that get lost in the wayside. Okay. These are all first responders. Even your religious guides, as in the priests and pastors. These are first responders that people turn to. Your people that lead the AA groups are first responders. These people are the ones that are what I call working poor as well. And that's where I'm targeting that side of it. Now, tomorrow is a brand new day. Okay. And just like every other day, what you did today, you cannot undo. You may have done things that were complicated and that caused some complications. You cannot undo them, but you may be able to compensate for them. First rule of thumb, you must be true to you first. And much as we've been brought up in a society that is duplicitous to say the least, self-serving and fear-based, okay, we can change that. And working together, we can make this a better world for everybody. With this in mind, I will be back again tomorrow. But until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.